Adam Knipp joined by Pat Sobeski, Mayor of Woodstock. It's another edition of Webchat with the Mayor, and there's no council meeting coming up for a couple weeks. We're kind of in our quiet period here, Pat, during the summer, but we did want to bring you in to discuss paratransit and get a bit of an update. It's been about 6 months since we last heard that ridership under the new system was way down, expenses were climbing, and you've been able to dig in a bit to the numbers for us.
Yes, as the community knows, we basically changed the way we operate paratransit. The city bought 2 new paratransit buses. We also have a contract with Voyageur to pick up the overflow. And so it was a transition period. Staff were expecting great difficulties, but the number of problems have been surprisingly few. There have been some riders, obviously, that had special needs that had to be identified and worked with. So staff had to take the time to do that. But really, it went a lot smoother than anyone anticipated. Ridership is down. The revenues are down, but the expenses, corresponding expenses, are down because we don't have to use the Voyageur buses to pick it up. So right now, we're tracking online for from the budget as a whole. We also put in the budget an extra $100,000 of gas tax revenue that we thought we might need if indeed the level stayed higher than the consultant indicated. However, that's not happening, so it appears that $100,000 contingency won't be used and it'll just be returned to the gas tax reserve at the city. There's some interesting, the numbers have been growing since January. So we're seeing small increases. One thing that we haven't tracked is, of course, under the new system, riders that are eligible can show their card and take a regular bus and not have to pay the $2. So those numbers aren't tracked, but sometime in the fall, we'll probably have the drivers do a manual count to see how many of those are being used. The numbers are kind of interesting. About just less than half of the riders are called what they refer to as subscription bookings. So these are people that have regular appointments. They might be going to work every day. They might have their dialysis treatments. And so they have, Tuesday at 9:30. And so that's a set pickup for them. And it's just automatic. They don't have to call. They don't have to book. They only call to say that they're not going that day. So that's just under half of the riders. Over about 50% of the riders are using it to go to work, go to medical appointments. About 45% are for social reasons and those sorts of things. And that's just it. The dispatcher is not a gatekeeper to determine if you're going to the doctor, that's a ride. If you just call up and say, well, tomorrow I want to go and pick up a pack of smokes, that's still a ride. That's the way the rules fit. But the one thing that we've done, we've expanded service because, again, under the new laws of the province, we have to match paratransit hours and rates with the rates charged on regular buses. And the one thing, too, is we took a look at chronic users to see what happened, because that was the one thing the consultant indicated, that we were the only municipality not using a dispatcher. And what we found, of the top 3 riders, and these were people that were using it in excess of 50 times a month. One of them has stopped using the system. One is using it at about 60% of the rate of last time, and the other one's using it about a third of the time. So all in all, it's coming out as the consultant said. People are becoming more comfortable with it, using it. And so all in all, it's maintaining the cost stability of it. And then as we all get older, some people sitting here with gray hair, other with not gray hair. But as we get older, there's going to be a growing number. And so that was all part of the long-term thing, was to make sure we had financial stability going forward.
You had mentioned that ridership has come back up a little bit. It was down 50% in January when the program was first launched. About what level are we at right now?
Probably we might be up to 60%. So it's growing slowly, but it's encouraging that it's moving in that direction.
And budget, you had mentioned we're doing fine and might not have to tap into that gas tax revenue. Is it it's still more though than the old system?
I was going to pull out that number. The numbers that were budgeted, that when staff came forward, were based on the old budget. So the budget that was submitted was to match the last year's budget. They decided to be really conservative with that because we believed that the cost would be under control. So therefore, the budget was based on last year's budget.
Okay, I guess we'll have to wait and see come budget time what happens with that. We're in the midst of summer here, Pat. Lots of events taking place, and you're looking forward to one in particular.
Yes, we have Cowapalooza coming up in the middle of the month. And again, it's quite a number of activities taking place at Southside Park, the real jewel of the city as far as parks go. And Brad Jansen is really using the park well as he sets it up differently than he did, for example, Canada Day. But there's activities there on the Friday night, activities on the Saturday night, and the sponsorship that we get from local businesses is very good. This year, CN, Canadian National Rail, they've contributed $10,000 to the activities, and so that helps certainly defray a lot of the costs. And there's some what we call unintended consequences that happen. These are positive ones. Because the stage, Brad rents the stage and they don't dismantle the stage till Monday, it's sitting there Sunday morning, and so therefore the faith community uses it Sunday morning for a church service. So it's just one of the things of how Cowapalooza works and the benefits to the community. And certainly I think people in Woodstock, they certainly crowd the hill for the evening entertainment. But for a lot of people, it's an opportunity to get out, socialize, and meet friends over the course of the summer.
You're going to partake in the cow milking contest? Usually there's a city politician there hovering under one of the udders.
That's true, but I've been taking a careful look at the supply management system that Canada has, and I think somehow there's an escape clause for mayors who are not nimble of finger.
Okay. We'll let you off with that, Pat. Thanks once again for joining us for a special edition here of Web Chat with the Mayor.